Pro Bono Ontario has been around for 16 years now. As Julie mentioned, we serve over 20,000 clients each year, and we do this by embedding our services into frontline service environments. So we're in 5 children's hospitals, 2 adult hospitals. We're in 3 courthouses, but every courthouse in the province distributes our cubes, which tell them to call us if they need legal advice. We're in schools and airports for our unaccompanied minors program, and in settlement organizations and business incubators. I think our strategy of embedding our services is working well. Our demand increases each year, and this year, with the introduction of the hotline, I figure that we'll probably be around 30,000 clients served. And I should mention that we do this all with volunteer lawyers. So we try to make it really easy for our volunteer lawyers to give their time, donate their time, and we try to really make it easy for the public to access our services. So one of the ways that we've been trying to serve the province, I know that many of you in this room have a province-wide mandate, which is very difficult to serve a province of this size, especially when most of the lawyers are in, Toronto and Ottawa. So we introduced a remote legal advice line about 5 years ago. This was a great idea because we had people driving for hours to get to one of our court-based centers. And we said, why can't they just call us and we could put them on the phone with a lawyer? So we introduced this service, but the demand for this service quickly overwhelmed us. Just to give you an example, last year we had 14,000 requests for legal advice over the phone, and we were only able to connect about 5,100 of those to a pro bono lawyer for legal advice. So we knew that we needed to introduce a more sophisticated and streamlined point of entry for our clients. So we created, oops, it's upside down, our hotline. It's a call center, and yeah, I don't know how that happened, but oh, there we go. Oh, well, let's see if the next slide is upside down. Oh, it's just this one. So let's see. Okay, this is our upside down hotline, a call center really. So we knew that we needed to invest in some call center technology. So after doing much research, we decided on Salesforce, which is a customer relations management software. And it's what a lot of large companies use, but it has the capacity to be able to take hundreds of thousands of calls. So the difference with this call center and our remote services line is now when the public calls, the call goes directly to a lawyer. So this was our clients before the hotline. They were going to the courthouse to try to get legal advice and help with their forms. And this is our clients now with the hotline. They can call from the comfort of their home, from their desk over their lunch hour, and speak directly to a pro bono lawyer. So, oops, sorry about that. The hotline really uses a bottom of the pyramid approach. So what we say is everybody needs some legal advice, some people need more. So after a half an hour of free legal advice, some will be referred on to one of our other programs, or maybe a legal aid clinic or the Law Society referral line. And then some need full representation. But this is a way to serve as many people at the bottom of the pyramid, and then as needed, additional referrals. So I think we all hear the number of 85% of the public have legal problems that don't attract the private bar because there's no money in it for them, and these problems fall out of the scope of legal aid. So there's really nowhere for them to turn. So we're hoping that this will at least make a dent in that number and provide some brief advice and assistance through the hotline. The way the hotline works is we use the Salesforce platform, but then there's different applications that we add on. So this is TalkDesk, which is an incoming call center technology. And you'll see in the bottom right corner, there's a keypad. When a caller calls in, they're asked if you're calling about an employment issue, press 1, housing 2, power of attorney, press 3, and it goes employment matter 4, civil procedure 5, and if you're a charity or you're starting a business 6. So this caller has indicated that they have a housing matter. So this is what the lawyer will see on their computer. They click on the green telephone to answer the call. This is the TalkDesk dashboard, and you couldn't really see in the call center, but there's a big screen at the front of the room, so it shows different things, like there's 7 agents on the phone, which are 7 lawyers taking calls that day. There's 4 calls in progress. At the top, you see the average call duration is 16 minutes and 27 seconds. The average wait time is 6 minutes and 23 seconds, and we've had 83 calls that morning. So the caller answers the phone, and usually they do a brief intake. They ask name, postal code, income level, age range, and where they heard about us. So that's what you see at the left hand here. This is an open client file, by the way, and it kind of demonstrates what the capabilities of Salesforce. So the case management piece is the contact details. Now this caller has called in before, so the system recognizes her number and pulls up her case file automatically. So this caller has called in about a conditions problem in her apartment, and in the middle column you'll see that the previous lawyer, when she called on October 5th, had given her some suggestions of what to do. So there's the case notes from the previous caller in the middle column. And then a really exciting piece of this is the knowledge management system. So on the right, her problem is she has mold in her apartment. So the lawyer answering the calls types in the keyword mold, and the knowledge management system brings up recommended advice and a summary of the law. It will also provide options and next steps for them to take, and a list of referrals if needed. The other application that we're really excited about is the draw loop document assembly technology. So one of the pieces of advice that the lawyer gave this woman is that she needs to write a demand letter to her landlord. So the lawyer, if you see the fields on the right, what's the landlord's name, address, those kind of things, they click that the tenant needs a maintenance demand letter, and the demand letter is hit continue, demand letter is generated, and then emailed to the client. So we're actually doing court forms now with this as well. I think I've mentioned at a number of meetings that we've been using the A2J document assembly program at our court-based centers for over 10 years now. And it's great, but we really think that there should be a combination of legal advice with the form completion technology. So this is a great way to do both. So we're adding forms every day, and we're also adding demand letters for employment and other things. So the nice thing about Salesforce is we're going to be collecting so much data over the next year. Right now we haven't done any outreach at all, and so those calls from the north are probably coming from courthouses where we have our cubes available. People are also doing Google searches, problems at work, and they find us that way. But it'll be interesting to see how our outreach efforts work, and we'll be able to tell this by these, weekly reports that we're doing. It'll also be a way to do a real-time legal needs study. So even if you look at right now the callers by age range, right now they're all of working age, and that's consistent with the clients that we see through our court-based programs. I'd like that number for the elderly to be much higher, because I think this is a perfect service for seniors. And so I'm working with the Ministry of Senior Services and Consumer Services, because I think that the seniors would really benefit from this kind of service. To the right, you'll see services by area of law, and right now the bulk of what we're doing is civil procedure, again, because the outreach has only been done through the courts. But I can see once the public finds out about it, areas like consumer, employment, housing will probably dwarf the civil procedure piece of the pie. And then on the bottom, service outcomes. When we talk about a lot of people just needing basic legal advice, where to start, how to do a form. I'm hoping right now that the number 74% of the matters are resolved in the first call. I hope that number will go up as we start adding more demand letters and forms for our clients, and the more efficient we become and using the knowledge management piece, I think that number will increase. And then on the bottom right corner is our caller satisfaction survey. So the minute a caller hangs up, they receive a text that asks them to rate our service. So I'm happy to report that 98% were happy with the advice they got and the assistance that day. So that's really gratifying to us. Now, both Justice Cromwell and the Attorney General talked about when you're starting these kind of programs, you need to take a calculated risk. And it was, we were all pretty nervous about opening something up like this, but I think that we can say after our 6 weeks beta period, which ended on Friday, that we're quite confident that this is what the public wants. Just to give you an idea of the number of calls we're getting, in the first 6 weeks we received 5,125 calls from the public, again without any outreach, so that's pretty incredible. Just over 200 calls each day. We also we were able to provide advice to approximately 1,165 callers, so that's about a third. And when we talk about efficiency on the phone with our volunteers, in the first 3 weeks we were probably taking 20 to 30 calls each day, and last week we were taking between 50 and 60 calls. So I think the more forms and the more letters we can create using the draw loop technology, the more we can build out our knowledge management system. I think this service has a lot of potential. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.